Welcome to a CoH2 cast, and today we are featuring Unknown Legend in the north as the OKW, and in the south on Leglise Breakout we have SpaRtan. And co-casting this game with me tonight will be Outlaw. How's it going?
Muy bien, muy bien.
Excellente, mon ami. And we butchered that. We tried. In the north, we have a Kubelwagen coming out of the OKW base as the Stern Pioneers will lay a quick bit of wire down on the vehicle to prevent any cover given to the Soviets. And in the south, it looks like we've gone with a double con start and only about a 60 manpower away from the ability to build a third con. Taking a look at the tactical map, what do you think about this map? Is there any specific advantage to either side, Outlaw?
Well, I know that Roger, or I'm sorry, Unknown Legend, because I know him as Roger, personally, barbed wired that car near his cutoff because he knows there's going to be a lot of fighting going on right there. So that's definitely going to be a pressure point that I think the Soviets going to try to attack often. But besides that part of the map, I'm guessing the munitions point on the Soviet side. That's another hot spot because the fuel points are so far on each end that depending on who caps them, it stays capped for a while
Yeah,
because
I
it's
guess
just
the
so far
best
against the.
opportunity is just to try to cut them off as opposed to
Mhm.
capturing them in general. But it looks like the buildings will be occupied here and we'll exchange some fire at mid. Kubelwagen lending some fire support. And some cons are getting in behind, but instead of joining the battle, they're going to go and try to cap the point right in front of Unknown Legend's base. Kubelwagen is now going to head off to the east as he circles around the rear road. And this 5-man con squad is going to jump out of the building and head over to the east as well. Looks like Unknown will try to push off these cons who will slowly back away from that point in front of his base.
Yep, and as I guess, SpaRtan's really going for OKW players cutoffs here, just because he knows that if he gives the OKW player enough ground, he's going to start taking more and more uh, faster than the Soviet can keep up. So early game is very important for the Soviet to apply pressure earlier, and that's what he's doing.
Looks like the Sturms are going to retreat here as Panther, or Unknown rather, gets into the building at mid. And some Volks are putting a good fight up against these cons in the building to the north of the road on the right side of the map. As the Kubelwagen sits from afar out of range, but also firing on the building. They're now going to retreat with 3 men. And looks like Unknown has done a real good job here to have the advantage. 3 units to 1 against this one con, but meanwhile in the rear, a good job by the Soviets to decap the entire left side of the map as Panther or Unknown. If I refer to Panther, you know I'm talking about Unknown. And I still know him as Panther, so I apologize for that. But now, pretty good pressure here by the Soviets in terms of map control, wouldn't you say, Outlaw?
Definitely. I mean, the Soviet player is doing exactly what he should be, and you can already tell that some of the pre-gaming things that Unknown Legend did is already paying dividends. Like that barbed wire near the VP, that was excellent because he's forced to retreat on the back end, and that's going to be awesome whenever you've got Unknown Legend with the Sturms, because it's going to be forced retreat to a certain point, and he's more than likely going to be able to get wipes off that.
Looks like the Soviet just has the one con out there in the field with one joining the battle soon here, heading towards mid, but there's 2 Volks positioned at mid ready to fight him. And they're going to hop into the building, but they already lost a single model. And in the east, it looks like it's a 5v5 as one con will drop down there as well. And the Soviets have done an upgrade to the field hospital. Probably a wise decision, given that he has a fairly decently sized con force.
Yeah, and it looks like Unknown Legend here has already tucked his commander, and he's going for the MG42 slash Fallschirmjäger combination, which is going to be excellent in this map because there's so many buildings to pop the Fallschirms out of.
Really good use by Unknown Legend of cover at mid, as it looks like SpaRtan would have to, did have to retreat rather, that one con in the building, And now the NGs will retreat. Now there's 3 squads of Volks. One is going to pull a retreat as he was down to 3 man, but the MG will now join up in at mid here. It looks like he might hop into that building. Let's see. Yes, he does. And both the MG and the Volks are currently stationed in the building. One Volk squad is down to 2 men though, and it looks like the Khans are all firing on him. He's going to quickly retreat. Looks like the Sturms will join the fray soon. Quite an interesting little match here.
Yeah, and I'm curious to know if SpaRtan's going to attack Molotovs, just based off the fact that the Unknown Legend is going to be doing a lot of camping inside these houses. So I'm really hoping to see some Molly play on this match.
I don't think it would be a bad decision at all. It's not like it's an expensive tech by any means. 1 or 2 well-placed mollies in a building can definitely sway the tide of battle. And it looks like this MG is doing really good work there because the Khans are unable to fire at him from that building, it looks like. And now these Khans on the left here with the mid are going to try to station behind this vehicle, but they're really taking a lot of damage still, even though they're in green cover. Really aggressive MG play here by Unknown. And SpaRtan will probably have to retreat this squad very shortly. Yes, he does, as the Sterns move up. And on the right, a Kubo is going to be pressured by a 6-man Khan. Any thoughts on the harassment of the fuel point? Should he just try to decap that fuel all game long, or is he better to focus his efforts more towards mid and the left side of the map?
No, SpaRtan's doing the correct thing. You don't ever want to give the OKW player fuel just because of the fact that they become such a juggernaut late game. So the constant decapping of the fuel really forces Unknown Legend to think twice about focusing on one area of the map and having to micromanage all of it. So very good play on SpaRtan's part.
I wonder if he'll venture his Sturms over to the fuel and put down a mine or 2. That might be a good deterrent for him. Looks like a flamethrower is going to sneak up behind this MG possibly. Let's see if he tries to put some fire into that building. Looks like some mortar fire is also going to lend support. So nice varied army now starting to appear for the Soviets, as he's got a flamer, a mortar, and some Khans. And well done there to rout that MG team, get them out of the building, and force a retreat.
Yeah, the scripts right here are really starting to pressure Unknown Legend into kind of like a corner. So you've got him basically cutting off his resource points constantly, which is excellent play by the Soviet.
Yeah, all of a sudden it looks like the Soviet has a bit of an upper hand towards, just in general, as he's combined his forces and basically pushed Unknown Legend up to the north. So a good little realignment of the map for the Soviets at this point. But we'll see now that Unknown has some good cover. He's in a good position right now with in the building behind the truck and behind the wall, also with the Kubo landing fire support. So he's just going to wear down these Khans here, and yes, he will retreat. So it's back and forth for sure.
Yeah, if you look at both of the armies, they've got a very balanced point of, I guess, use, because you've got the indirect, you've got your forward infantry, and then you've got your, I would say, Unknown Legend is doing a better job with MG 34, but overall, very good play on both you guys' parts.
Looks like the Soviets have just brought out a Zis gun, so we'll see what they can do with that. And Unknown will now sweep the mine at mid as SpaRtan continues to pressure with some Khans. 5-man squad on retreat as he oorahs into the building here, but he is up against some Sturms behind a wall. They'll probably make relatively quick work of those Khans unless they decide to retreat, which they will. And he'll easily cap the mid with the Sturms. Let's see if he puts down some landmines here. He's going to try, yes he is, right? But he's going to see that he was spotted, so he's going to try to pull back, and now he'll likely be spotted again here. Yes he is. Pops into the building, and the Khans will attempt to rout him from the building.
Looks like SpaRtan here is pre-gaming for a possible Panzer II, because he's unsure of what Unknown Legend has gone, but then again the ISG should have given away. So I mean that would make
Very
sense.
true.
That he did not tech anti-tank nades because he did notice that the ISG was out, but he ended up teching the Zis just in case.
I think it's a good move for Unknown to throw a Raketenwerfer into a building at this point. Always very difficult to dislodge those Raketens from buildings. I think that's definitely a huge strength of that unit, and people sometimes forget to take advantage of it, even at mid levels of play. You sometimes notice people will try to use the cloaking, which is also a great ability if you're good at it. If you're good at positioning and moving your units around, but otherwise it's nice to just throw them in a building. As I say, they're very difficult to dislodge. Now it looks like the fuel point is being harassed, but Unknown is getting very aggravated and will throw 3 units in that direction to try to push him off. And now hopefully the Soviet will take advantage and push up on mid here.
Now, based off the unit composition here, this could be very bad for Unknown Legend. The fact that flamethrower does double the damage when it comes to green cover, these Volksgrenadiers might catch a flame to the face.
Looks like they are indeed, and now that Sturm is down to 2 men, they're going to have to retreat. Although the Soviet decides to retreat on 3 men. Meanwhile, in mid, the MG-34 now has been hit level 1 veterancy as he fires away at the building. The Raketen is just pounding at that building as well. I suppose that's why Unknown has not put it on target vehicle only, because he's going to wear that building down and maybe even knock it down at some point, which wouldn't be a bad thing at this point for him, given those buildings are all facing the Soviet base.
I think the Raketen's bugged out and is shooting the bodies that are trying to crawl away.
I wonder if he's targeting them. That's interesting.
Do you get points for that? I mean, do you get kills?
Like XP? I'm not sure, but I mean, they do reveal the map, so it might be a good little idea to kill them off for sure if you've got the time. Looks like now a Maxim will come out for the Soviet Union.
Supply sector under attack.
The Soviet Union. Nice.
Mother
Russia. It looks like Unknown Legends finally bringing out the Fallschirmjägers here.
Yes,
Not a bad idea.
We'll see how they do here. They should be able to take these cons on without too much difficulty. It's wisely getting into green cover, but it might be a little late if those Volks can support. They're a little bit out of range, but he will wisely retreat as the Kubel continues to cap in the east.
Fallschirmjägers do so much damage up close. I'm not really sure what SpaRtan was thinking there with the range distance he had between the Fallschirms and the scripts, but he definitely had the advantage in that play.
Looks like this infantry support gun is going to have to back off as the cons are right up in front of it, but well supported by MG, and now these Fallschirmjägers are pinned down by a Maxim, and they might be in trouble as both a Maxim and a Flamer attack, but he goes on full retreat, and it looks like a one-man squad at mid is also going to retreat, just escape in the nick of time. And a landmine is now coming down in a nice defensive position by Unknown Legend.
This is the point of the game where I was saying that the OKW becomes somewhat of a juggernaut, because early game the scripts have the advantage because of the numbers, but mid game the OKW players have more quality compared to quantity. So this is where you're going to start to see the Soviet player lack a little bit when it comes to engagements.
And that's true even with the Volksgrenadiers, because they gain triple veterancy or quadruple or even level 5 veterancy, which becomes, like you say, a bit of a juggernaut. You don't even need to necessarily have high tech units, just with the high levels of veterancy they become very difficult. Looks like a Schwer is going to just work away at these cons in the east, and he's got a Schwer, and now, so when I said that Raketen is going to be difficult to dislodge, now it's going to be an absolute nightmare because he's got a Schwer protecting, and it's going to be a very big challenge to get rid of that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what SpaRtan's thinking right now, because he hasn't teched a commander, and it's getting pretty late game, so I'm really curious to see what his next move is going to be.
That's a good observation. He did just kill off a Volk near mid, just to the left there. I did get a look at that, but now it looks like the Kubel might be caught out here. Let's see if he gets an 18-8 off on it, and he does. Low health, but the Sturms are going to be there in the nick of time, and they will prevent the death of the Kubel. Good MG usage here by the Soviets as they push off the Fallschirmjägers down to one man. and they will need to be reinforced at a very high cost.
Enemy forces capturing supply sector.
SpaRtan is not doing a bad job, but he's starting to lack when it comes to his harassment of the points. You can definitely tell that there's been a decline in the amount of harassment of Unknown Legends resources.
Looks like a Molotov is coming out onto these Fallschirmjägers, but the Falls will just jump out of the building,
Sector under attack.
and now they will pull back to the point there. If we take a look at the map now, the Soviets are attempting to capture the fuel, but they are under assault. Great positioning of that Schwer as it just does reach the fuel. They can just barely sit on the edge and cap it, but if they move up even slightly, they will be hit by that. And now here come the cons and the Maxim en masse. Let's see, this is a big push here.
Forces are
We need
capturing our
to
supplies.
see some good play here by the Soviet.
What's really unfortunate is SpaRtan's not necessarily changing up his strategy when it comes to applying pressure, because the fact that Unknown Legend has positioned that Schwer there is a direct deterrent to SpaRtan's gameplay. So I'm really curious to see if SpaRtan comes up with a different type of plan to attack that fuel point, because as it sits right now, all he's doing is he's bleeding manpower.
I do like the idea of putting the Kubel on the right, because he can easily force those cons off from a distance. If they come any closer, the Schwer will take them out, and if they retreat, he'll simply move the Kubel in and cap it very quickly.
Our points have fallen to
Meanwhile, at
300.
mid, his Unknown Legend is moving in with 3 units, and it looks like Soviets are pretty spread out at the moment. He's going to have to do some sort of concentration just to be able to take on what Unknown has concentrated at mid here.
I think I have an inkling of what SpaRtan's going to do. SpaRtan, in my opinion, is going to go for the Lend-Lease commander, and he's going to spam M4Cs, because the fact that he's got so much fuel in the bank, that'd be an excellent freaking steamroller for him at this point.
And he's almost there. He's only about a half CP, so it's a very good idea. Given that the description of the game was lots of armor, it may very well be M4Cs.
Yeah, we might just be in for a treat. Ooh, yeah.
So lots of manpower invested in these falls. So we just need to see a lot of those models worn out and killed off. And then that's going to cause a very high manpower bleed for OKW. But if he can keep those falls alive and dish out the DPS, it's going to be very difficult for the Soviets to counter that.
We may now deploy heavy machine guns, comrade.
I'm trying to see here. It looks like Roger's Roger. Unknown Legend has only attacked 2 tier groups, so as far as armor goes, more than likely he's going to be going for a Panther.
Now here comes a concentrated push towards mid, but he hits a very well-placed mine with a Maxim down to 2 men. Let's see if he retreats that now. No, he's going to pop it into the building, and these falls are just pinging away at these cons from afar as a nade comes down and burns up all the cons. 2-man retreating, 4-man con retreating, and this Maxim is in trouble. But now here comes the M4C Sherman, and he will quickly force a retreat of the falls.
Forces capturing supply sector.
Yeah, I called it. SpaRtan's going to go for the M4C spam. From this point on, more than likely what's going to happen is you're going to start to see multiple M4Cs start to come out. He'll probably play conservatively at first, but once he gets about 2 to 3, he's going to start going snowball effect, rolling downhill on Unknown Legends units.
Yeah, I think he's got to really push in there when he gets a couple, because what's going to happen is if he can get a Panther out to counter, it'll be difficult for those M4Cs to make as much impact as they otherwise would. So let's see if he can get some good pressure going here. But with those Volks with Shreks combined with the Rakettenwerfer, even the Foss from the Falls will come in handy against these M4Cs, because if he can take the engines out, he can just keep them repairing all game long.
Goodness sake. Unknown Legend seems to be pretty confident, because instead of going for Panther, he has gone for the P4, which is a gamble nowadays, considering the fact that the high cost of the P4 and the amount of damage that it does and what units it's really successful against. It's a gamble in the sense that it's not as much bang for its buck as it used to be.
That's right. Now I guess his theory might have been just to get he wanted some kind of counter out there. He probably figured that, just as I maybe suggested, that he might get 2 M4Cs before even a single Panther could come out and sort of start to steamroll him a bit. So maybe he just wanted some kind of counter but like you say, it's not a great unit overall as it really even used to be. But I mean, utilized well, it can be just as good as a Panther, to be honest. Just
Sure.
depends
I mean, with
all on how you
veterancy,
use it.
it's not a bad unit, but late game, when it comes to heavy tanks, in my opinion, it becomes more of like an infantry lawnmower because it just does so much more damage to infantry versus to armor.
Yeah, I think Vet 2 is where it really starts to shine. Good maximum use here by the Soviets as he's got two working together now.
Supplies to the enemy.
And up by the Schwer, it looks like the P4 will push in just south of this church against these cons.
Yeah, the massive amounts of conscripts is really paying SpaRtan dividends here. As you can see, map control is excellent. He's not suffering as far as losing squads left and right. He's very much vetted on each, so very, very good play on SpaRtan's part.
Pretty clever use of the infantry support gun, placing it behind also in the area of the Schwer. So he's got sort of the indirect fire, the anti-infantry of the Schwer, and the anti-tank of the Raketen in the building. Meanwhile, at mid, these falls are going to take a quick retreat as the M4C moves up, and the the P4 will try to finish off this Maxim. Oh, the Raketen gets a shot off and kills the one model of the retreating Maxim,
Enemy forces
and
are
now
neutralizing a
he
sector.
will manage to retreat.
Now, I like the Falchions, but I don't like them in the same sense of the fact that they're so expensive to reinforce. I mean, they're a lot of shock value, but once it becomes like a manpower drain, that's when it becomes dangerous. So I'm hoping Unknown Legend here doesn't sink too much resources into these Falchions.
Another big thing to keep in mind with them is they are a four-man squad, so you lose one or two models, you're on retreat with those guys. It's not like a 5 or 6 man where you can sustain 2 to 3 losses and keep in the battle. And given the high cost, it's very risky. Now it looks like a really good map control by the Soviets here. If they could just somehow dislodge that Raketen, they would be able to push in there on the right, but it's going to be a challenge. Let's see. Now the Schwer is hitting against the church. He's probably just going to regroup at mid now because he knows that's a really hard point there for the OKW. And we'll see what Unknown Legend decides to do on his next attack here.
Here comes a second M4C.
Indeed. Let's see if he can get some pressure down.
I'm having a feeling SpaRtan's going to start to pressure this Schwer here soon.
I agree. Yep. He knows he has to crack that egg basically, and then be able to pressure that side because that Schwer is covering the fuel. It's covering that church, and it's a launch point for any assault on mid for the OKW. So it needs to be worked on for sure. Lots of mines coming down for the Soviets. One on the left VP, one near mid VP, but that one's been spotted. And it didn't get quite finished, but he's not going to cancel it. Yes, he is. He did cancel it because it was spotted. And looks like the M4C is easily backed off by the Quad Vet
We are losing territory.
Volksgrenadier squad. Now, what do you think of this clumping of the two fall squads in the north? Like, should he use those together, or would you rather see them split up?
Well, at this point, they're best grouped together because you can. The shock value is gone, so you can't pop them out of buildings anymore. But they're still really potent up close. So I mean, if he's playing these in pairs, it's excellent for wiping squads on the tree. So I think that's a good choice made.
The only thing he needs to be careful is the Maxims, because every time they get pinned and retreat, it's just a complete waste for him. Now, looking at the map right now, the Soviets have, again, good map control. It's just that hard point on the right. And if you were unknown, would you be focused more? What area of the map basically would you suggest that he assault?
I know Legend's doing exactly what he should be. I mean, he's using the IHG for the barrages. I think one more piece of the pie that he's missing is like a observer. The unit that's what the heck am I looking for? What's the
infrared half track?
Yep, there you go. Infrared
Yeah.
half track, because that would really help out with the fact that SpaRtan's kind of being lazy in the sense that he's waiting for more manpower to mass Cs and 5Cs. That Roger, in the meantime, could play off that by barraging his units that are just sitting there unmicroed in the mid.
This is true. Now it looks like the Panzer IV will move up and take a shot in the side armor as these Volks will get pinned down, suppressed by Maxim. And the cons will push in just to the right of the church, down to 3 men. Kubel supporting the P4. Damage engine on the P4 as the Schwer gets some shots off. And over towards mid, the double falls will come in. And it looks like there's no Maxim there. This could be some bad damage against this AT gun here. Will probably go down unless he can back it out immediately, which he will. And here comes the M4C. Let's see if he can get a Faust off. Looks like he would need double Fausted if he wants to damage the engine though. And now down to 2 man at mid, so there comes a good chunk of manpower. One shot misses. Maxim firing away.
Looks like Unknown Legends popped in and out of that building, but he started losing too much manpower right there as Fallschmager is so expensive.
He wisely retreats there, as on the right he sets the Panzer IV down and works on these cons. They're not going to be able to cap that field point. And looks like a demo charge coming down at mid, but I think if we look at the fog of war here, let's see if he managed to see that. If we click onto Unknown Legend, it appears, did he see that? I can't quite tell. I think he did see it probably.
Yeah, he saw it. The Raketen was close enough.
That's what I'm thinking, exactly. The Raketen is there. It's just whether it had line of sight, but I think it did. And now he's going to barrage that area, and looks like the unit will pull a full retreat. And now he's got to be aware that he's either going to need to just avoid that demo charge, because I don't think he'll be able to sweep it really.
And SpaRtan's doing a good job as far as his strategy goes. He did early harassment on the field point. He got enough ground to basically get a comfortable number of infantry, and right now he's basically just biding his time up until he gets enough tanks for, in my opinion, it's going to be a huge rush.
And on the right, or rather the left side, we've got 3 squads for Unknown Legend spreading out there, actually rather clumped up, but it looks like a artillery piece coming out, a Stuka, and looks like the Sherman might be in trouble on the right side as he backed through the wall. Possibly a Faust coming in. No, he managed to slip away there. The Kubel still alive with double veterancy, and this Maxim has him in his sights, but he's just out of range. And these falls will attempt to recapture this victory point. So a really good idea here, I think, for Unknown to try to get the left as opposed to capturing mid. But wisely, there is a Maxim with double veterantry set up on the left for the Soviets. So I think the Soviets are well set up at this point.
Yeah, and I want to say that Unknown Legend definitely missed an opportunity there. He had double Fallschirmjägers in that VP. I'm thinking that he failed to seize that moment based on the fact he was trying to cap the opposite VP where that Maxim's hanging out.
No, does he know that there's a demo? I think he does, because he's just backing off carefully. He's sort of dancing in and out of that left VP. Meanwhile, on the right, looks like the M4C will try to engage and takes a shot and misses against the Panzer. 2 flaming NGs here trying to push up on the church as well. But as the MG34 in the building fires on these cons, the Raketen will have to back off under cloak. And if we take a look on the left side, we've got a capture occurring of the VP. Not much the Soviet can do at the moment on that side, but he will probably capture this point just to the south of the church.
You can tell that SpaRtan respects Unknown Legend as an opponent, because the M5C rush isn't going to come based off the fact that I have noticed that he has teched his last tier structure, so he is pre-gaming for a possible Su-85 in the future if his M5C does fail, which does, like I said, show Unknown Legend respect.
Looks like a Katyusha coming out now, interestingly enough. And on the left, or sorry, the right side, just to the left of the church, there was a squad wipe of a con squad by the Fallschirmjägers. Retreating on the left, the Soviet is. Down to 2 man are the Fallschirmjägers. One big shot by the M4C, and it looks like the Falls will just manage to escape. A big turn of events there, as that could have been a devastating squad wipe. If he loses those falls, that'll be very unfortunate. Let's see if he can take good use. It's going to be who can use their artillery better here. Looks like the Stuka will completely wipe a con squad. 5-man squad was all clustered there. I don't know what happened there, but now he's going to counterfire with Katyusha over towards the Schwer, and he's working on that building with the MG in it. Probably not a bad target at all.
No, very excellent target. Pieces know that it's been a stronghold for Unknown Legend all game. The fact that he's taken that down just shows Unknown Legend that he's getting frustrated himself, and he's trying to force Unknown Legend to change up his strat, so to speak, as far as map control goes.
It's like a demo charge goes off at mid, but it failed to kill off the falls. In fact, only killed a single model possibly. And they're going to decap and go on full retreat. Looks like the Raketin will race towards mid to try and engage the M4C, but he's down to 2 men. See if he tries to retreat or get a shot. No, he will retreat. And meanwhile, the Kugelwagen will finish capping on the right side. Now the nice thing is for the Soviets, they can finish that building off, which is protecting the Schwer with either the Raketin or the MG in the building, and then it could be a push on that point. And in fact, he is pushing up on the church right now. Possibly a Molotov could come down on that building, and yes, it will. Meanwhile, on the left and center, we've got a push by the Panzer IV, supported by Falls, Sturms, MG34, Cons on full retreat as the M4C moves up just to the left of the victory point. All out battle here.
And Roger and Unknown Legend's doing what he can as far as the mid VP goes. You can tell he's rushing his units in right here just because he's worried that the VP bleed's a little bit too high.
And a good play by the Soviets to grab that right VP as he saw the mass concentration of forces on the center, and only 100 points remain for the OKW. So we'll see here what the OKW might be able to do to turn this around at this point.
Unknown Legend's strategy was excellent all the way up until late game where I think he's lacking Obersoldaten. The reason why I say that is because the massive amount of infantry is really hindering his ability to do map control. Other than that, maybe MG34s at certain points, because right now as it sits, SpaRtan's going to bleed him through the VPs.
I think the Maxim use has been quite good this game actually, as well, against the squads that he does have, as we've got a triple vet on the right side here, and now going up to, yeah, he's maxed out on triple vet. And looks like a push on the left side now by the M4C. Firing away, but oh, he gets a squad wipe of the Volks there. 3 men down. And now the Sterns will have to do a soft retreat as they're down slightly in health. Looks like basically the Soviet is going all in to try and bleed him out for the victory there.
Sure. I mean, that's pretty much been his strategy from the beginning, in my opinion, just the fact that he's been attacking the resources non-stop. And once he got enough resources of his own, he's just pretty much been holding them with his massive amount of infantry.
Here comes some Stuka fire, hitting the building, and oh, just those NGs managed to escape. Now we've got some planes coming in. A strafing run, Fallschirmjäger drop onto the right VP, and these cons could be in deep trouble. They're suppressed. Let's see if he can... Oh, they all died! All 4 falls died. They didn't even land. I don't know how they died exactly. Did you see that?
That's odd. No.
Yeah, they just all died. There's 4 corpses there. That's bizarre. And now this P4 will move up and try to push off these cons. Real unfortunate there, because they would have just eaten up those cons, but they didn't even touch ground without...
Must have missed flight school.
Yeah, I guess so.
Broke all their ankles as they hit the ground.
Yep. Now they're just a pile of goo on the ground. And now it looks like he's just going to try to steal mid as well, which would really put the bleed against Unknown Legend. Fallschirmjäger's spawning there. Seems sort of a desperate move, as that's his 3rd squad, but we'll see what they can do. He needs a critical blow with this Stuka, is what Unknown Legend needs.
Yeah, and it looks like SpaRtan's really reverted back to the M5C rush because he's gotten another one out.
Yes, indeed. Oh, down goes that Maxim. That was unfortunate. It's been a stalwart all game long, but it finally bit the bullet. Looks like Unknown did manage to capture mid now, but 2 VPs still capped against him. 3 tanks at mid here.
Yeah, the M5Cs are really paying dividends. You can see that Unknown Legend is struggling to keep the VPs in his favor.
Looks like this little blob here is going to push up, but one M4C will have his gun disabled, and he's going to try to escape here. Let's see, he's going to turn around and probably run over the wall here. But looks like a critical shot by a Panzer IV takes it out an M4C, and both other M4Cs will back off. Looking at the map, it looks like Unknown will cap the right VP, and we've got a massive push by the Soviets now energizing his forces and attacking at mid. What does the Soviet need to do to seal this game?
Do exactly what he's doing. I mean, as it sits right now, he's got the advantage. Basically, what's going to happen right now is he's going to push the LKW player back with his vetted infantry, and it's going to become what it's been for the past 15 minutes, just a back and forth game in the favor of the Soviet VPs.
Oh, the Kayusha takes out the Raket, so now there's not a whole lot. Oh, but here comes the counterfire of a Stuka. It didn't do much. The Kayusha definitely got the upper hand there. Let's see if this MG can escape. Looks like he will maybe escape. He's down to 1 man, and yes, he will. But there's an M4C firing at him. Shot misses wide. And the MG Maxim there at mid will attempt to capture as some Sturms engage a Con in the south, but he's supported by M4C and another Con.
Unknown Legend doing a great job with the Stuka. I mean, it's been paying off because I believe it's wiped a Maxim squad and a conscript squad already. And
he is up to 7 kills. Looking at the Katyusha, he's at 4, so they're pretty close in that regard. And now it looks like on the left a landmine is coming down. Not a bad decision by the Soviets.
Really disappointed in the P4's performance, just based off the field presence that it's had. It feels like it just hasn't done what you expect a tank to do.
Yeah.
He's definitely tucking a Panther now.
The only thing it did do good was there just a minute ago where it killed off that tank. Now a nice nade there by the Fallschirmjägers. He threw the Blend Corper and followed it up with a bundle nade and almost took out a Maxim squad. And these falls are just putting a rain of terror down on the Soviets.
The sector is at risk.
And to reiterate up the fact that the P4 isn't really doing what it should, I mean, you can see that SpaRtan's grabbing that far VP near the Schwer without even thinking second guessing it, just for the fact that the Panzer IV is not posing a huge threat. So he's going up there with his scripts, capping with his M4C without any regrets.
The enemy is down to 25 points.
25 points now.
Victory is in our grasp.
Victory is slipping away here. 38-30 to go. Or sorry, 38-30 into the game rather. And the Falls will now attempt to desperately grab this point, but he's got an M4C sitting on the point. He's going to try and get the Faust off, and he will fail. He's going to retreat. Now here comes the P4 and the Panther. P4 takes a shot, but the Panther will support. One shot bounces off. Not sure why he targeted the Panther there, as opposed to the P4, which he might have a chance to kill, but now he loses the M4C. And 2 tanks for Panther, or sorry, for Unknown will push in a Panther and a P4. And now at mid, the Soviets will throw in their M4C against an MG. And he's got only 14 points remaining. The point is decapped.
Now for 50 fuel more, that Panther, as you can see, deflected 2 to 3 of those Sherman shots like it was nothing.
And
so
this could be a game changer here. Look at this Panther coming in behind at mid. He shoots the M4C, but only 10 points remaining. Big Stuka barrage coming down through mid. M4C trying to do its best. There's 2 of them against this Panther, but shots are bouncing wildly. And now one M4C will back off as the live one will move up. The fresh one rather, and looks like he will fail to get an 18-8 off against the Panther as he backs away. MG desperately trying to cap at mid here. And he's going to fire away with the M4C. Let's see if he can get the cap. He's going to retreat, and he fails to cap. Here comes some sweepers, and he's going to grab the Raketwerfer and try to turn it desperately. But he's going to try to decap as the Panther and the triple vet P4 now fully healed come in. Let's see if he can get this M4C. Yes, he does back it up. The Cons will now try to cap as the Panther will move in on the point. He's really got to prevent this capture here. He should try to throw those Sturms on the point if at all possible.
Yeah, it looks like an Unknown Legend might be in a bit of a pickle here.
Indeed. See if he can prevent the cap. No, he can't. That could spell his doom. Let's see here. No, he's got to get that MG out of there though, so he can cap this point. All he has is that two-man Sturm squad, and less than 5 points here. He's down to 4 points now. M4C desperately moving into mid to try and hold that cap as the Katyusha fire range down just on mid to prevent any sort of further infantry action. Looks like he's capped both the left and the right VP with Fallschirmjägers. It's going to be difficult now for the Soviets to regain either of those points. Let's see what happens here.
If Unknown Legend plays his cards right here, he could really come back into this game, but he's really got to hold tight into that left VP.
Yes, he does. Given he has 1 point, it'll take a matter of seconds or less than that to take the win if he can grab a VP. And it's going to be Falls versus a NG squad with flames. Wow, those Falls just ripping in there, gaining triple veterancy, scaring off the squad. Meanwhile, at mid, the triple vet P4 will limp away, almost quad vet now.
SpaRtan's definitely sweating here because he just checked his Zis, thinking to himself that this game is far from over, so this is definitely pleasing.
Oh, and a devastating Stuka just took out, forces retreat on a mortar, kills 3 models of a NG, and another few models. Just absolute carnage there. Perfect Stuka barrage by Unknown, and he has the upper hand here.
Oh my god, 1 VP.
Incredible.
Oh my goodness. That is nuts.
The enemy has taken our supply sector.
Looks like this Zis now is going to point itself towards mid as a mine will come down at mid. He's going to kill off the one Zis with the Panther and the P4. Hopefully he can get that triple vet. If that triple vet P4 can get repaired fully, and his engine has been fixed, that's going to be really difficult because that, now that it's triple vet, can easily take on the M4C, if not a pair of them. And this Panther will just absorb all the shots for him. So it's going to be very difficult. I mean, all he has is one M4C. If this M4C goes down, I'm going to call this game pretty well over unless he can grab that left point there, which he will try to do now. But he's going to go for mid, Panther is. Triple vet, Unknown. And now this M4C will probably go down. One more shot here. No, it bounces. Chasing him all the way back to the base. Meanwhile, at mid, it looks like the point has been held by Unknown. And this Katyusha is going to try running backwards down the road as this Panther goes on the hunt right to the base. And he fires one more shot, and we've got a tank down.
Oh my goodness, SpaRtan is...
It's all falling apart. There goes the Katyusha. Unfortunate, to say the least, as this quadruple vet P4 is going to work together with the Panther on these cons. These cons just need to dance and cap this point for the win. Can they do it? They're under fire by the Schwer. He needs to pull them back a little bit. It's decapped. He's got to 18A that. No, he's down to 1 man. He's going to lose it. He does. Not good at all.
I'm trying not to laugh.
I can't help it. Oh my goodness. Brutal.
By 1 VP, Unknown Legend he is a legend. He is going to win this game by 1 VP.
He's legendary. And now, looks like we've got just a little bit of time left, so very likely we will see SpaRtan quitting this match unless he somehow snags this VP at mid. Here he goes, moving the Zis in for the cap, and probably a nade will come down. Ooh, big mine there on the Fallschirmjägers. Takes him down to 1 man. Let's see if he can finish him off. He's going to retreat, and now the Zis is going to go for the cap. Panther's desperately throwing everything in towards mid, but thankfully he has Falls on the left. If he didn't have those guys over there, that could have been the game, but looks like he's wise enough to have them over there. See if this Panther can survive this onslaught. Yes, he backs out just in time. Sweepers moving in now. Here comes the quad vet Panther 4. He will easily take out this M4C, assuming he keeps his front armor pointed the right way. Main gun goes down though after the Stuka barrage is going to go up nearby. One shot bounces off him as he backs away. And now, another shot bounces.
I get Vet 5 on this Panther 4. It's like an inch away from Vet 5.
It is too. 45 kills. It's paid off now in the end.
Yes, it has.
Now he's going to back up and repair that.
I mean, the P4 is, like I said, it's an excellent lawnmower when it comes to infantry. It's just the missing piece of the puzzle is definitely that Panther.
Which he wisely added. I mean, the combo of the two is excellent if you can use your P4 with your Panther well. And if you look at the stats, he has one vehicle and 44 infantry kills. Now another P4. A good decision given that the Soviets have very little armor at this point. So another P4 is just like a force multiplier at this point. It's only 75 points remaining for SpaRtan. Throwing everything in at mid, both sides are. And the Soviets have pretty much nothing. I don't know what he can do at this point. It's pretty much over unless, I don't know, not much he can do, the Soviets, would you say?
No. It's getting down to the nitty gritty for the Soviets here. I mean, they've drained the resources as far as trying to get more units out.
Yeah.
And the amount of opposition that the Soviet player faces is huge.
Especially with all this veterancy, like that, a Vet 2 Panther is just a stellar unit for bouncing shots. They gain that bonus at Vet 2, defensive bonus. And this Vet 4, Vet 5 now, Panzer 4, is just disgusting.
No, you said it right, Vet 4.
Now it's Vet 5. And now, look at that. He just gunned down the rest of that con like they were nothing. Two guys just dropped like a fly. And now, looks like he's desperately throwing a flamer in on the right, but of course, Unknown is wise enough to have an MG there. And he has literally nothing, 25 points to go. Just the bare bones now.
This map, or this match is gold.
Gold, I say.
One VP. He pulled it back when he was facing, I think it was 243 VPs. That's what SpaRtan had.
Yeah.
He pulled it back from one VP. It's excellent.
Very well done. And here comes this Stuka on the left point just to wipe out this MG, which is choking down on a grenade. And a sync error detected at 2 VPs. Is that what I'm reading?
Yeah, same.
That's unfortunate. I wonder what happened there. Anyways, clear victory for Unknown in the end. Wild one, though.
Very,
Final
very,
thoughts?
yeah, awesome game, awesome game. Had me on the edge of my seat at the end, especially with the one VP left. I thought it was just bleak for Unknown Legend, but when he got that Panther out, that was a huge game changer. I mean, he did a lot of good flanks on those M4Cs, and the SpaRtan, you know, unfortunately just couldn't react fast enough, I guess. He didn't have the amount of scripts he had earlier in the game due to all the barrages by the Stuka. Very, very excellent part on both, you know. No bad play on either part, really.
Very easily could have went the other way, and again, as you stated, it's the OKW late game that can just slowly build up and eventually hit this tipping point where they're very difficult to take out. And it seems like he did, Unknown rather, make the right decision in building the units in the order that he did. After he ended up getting that veterancy on the P4, and then in the late game having the Panther working with the P4 and then adding in another just sort of put the nail in the coffin, and it was all over for the Soviet. After he attacked the Sherman in the base and cleaned up that Katyusha, that was just the end for the Soviets. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. A great battle here, and we will hope to bring another cast to you soon. Thanks for tuning in.